Hey guys, so I am back, and in this section we're going to continue to set up the LiveView form for the settings section. And I just want to give you a quick heads up that so prior to this, I did some testing and I came to I came across some new learnings which I want to kind of share with you. So number one, going forward, I do not need this anymore because just the email change set is sufficient enough. The parameter that you saw, or the data which I deleted, those will be passed as a parameter in the handle events function. And we are going to touch base on that right now. And prior to that, I do want to make some couple of changes to the previous setup. I'm going to make this plural just to be consistent with this route here. That's number one. Number two, which was remove the unneeded data, and the other one was this one here. So now one thing we need to do is that we would require a user, and we need a user because in order for us to validate our email, we need to use this function over here, apply user email. What this function essentially does is that it does a mock add to the database, and what I mean by mock, in the sense that we pass in the user, we pass in the attribute for the email and our password, and based on these two fields, based on those two fields, we will get a change set whether if it's valid or if it's false. And when I say mock, it's this one here, this key function here, in which we are telling or mimicking the fact that it has been updated. In reality, we haven't really pushed to the database, but in the change set we have. And so we're going to be using this function, and this function requires a user, password, and an attribute. So these two we will be able to capture in the form over here, but the user, as I mentioned before, we can't get it from the socket. So I'm kind of lying there a bit in the sense that it is there, but we just gotta have to ensure that it is passed for future communication as well. So let's go ahead and tackle that first. So first thing you want to do is, usually what I like to do is, so in here in the mount, you see we are passing sessions, and in sessions we store the user's token. And what we want to do is we want to get the user by the token, take that user, add it to a socket, so that we will be able to handle it in future functions such as the handle event. So let's go ahead and set that up, and I am going to delete this one here, and just to confirm, account user, yeah, this change set is sufficient enough for this here. All right, so this one I'm going to call it email change set, add in here. The next one is we need the user. So for the user, well, let's, as I said here, session has the user ID, I believe so. What I like to do is I like to inspect it. Session. Session. And I'm going to remove this for now. And once I refresh, you should be able to, let's start the server. Okay. Set the server and navigate to the route, which is settings. And as you can see right here, sessions has the token right here, user token. So this is what we want to capture. So we could capture it like so: session, user token, user token. And in order to get the user, we are going to go to account. I think something get user token, if I'm correct. I want to verify that over here. Nope. I know it does exist. Get ready. The user by session token. So come on over here, put this in, user session token, user, and we're going to pass in the user to the socket as well. Okay. Now, I am getting an error here as well. Right. And delete this as well since we do not need that output anymore. Cool. So what did we do so far? We fetched the user and we added to the socket, and we have created email chain set as well, and we removed all the unnecessary datas because they are going to be provided by the form. So now the next step is that what we need to do is we need to capture the data, validate that data, and send back that response to the form. So, and there's two situations that could happen. Number one, if it's an invalid output that we get from this function over here, right, this function, right? So if it's an error, then we have to display that error message. If it's valid, in that case, we will receive the user. Then we just have to put a flash message saying that, hey, it is valid. And this, the success one is really going to mimic this one here, the response that the default user settings does. Okay, so let's go ahead and tackle that right now. So first thing what we got to do is, as you said here, so we need to, number one, capture this event. Well, listen for this event and react to it. And handle event is very similar to handle cast in the gen server. So let's go ahead and handle event, and we're going to be listening for the save event, and we are going to be getting the following arguments. So it's going to be current password, if I'm correct. Oop. Current password, it's going to be passed in. Current password, again, it's going to be a function, and it's going to be a string. Make it short, current pass, and then we're going to get a user's input, and call this, I'm just going to call this email since that's the only parameter for that, and then we get socket, and then here. So we get these following informations. We want to confirm, perfect, cool. So now, what we're going to do, we're going to call this function here. So this function requires these following attributes. So let's go, I'm going to go ahead and copy this in here, and let's work backward into providing this. So user. So the user we are able to get from in the assigns, right? So we go to socket, assigns, user, right here, and that should satisfy the first argument. And delete this. And password is from here because that is the second field that we pass in the form, and the params, the attribute is going to be this one here. Okay. And then what we have to do is we need to capture all the various scenarios that we'll get. And in this case, as mentioned by this, we'll get the following scenarios. So I'm going to capture this one here. And in this case, we're not going to use this again. I just need the OK added in this tuple. And the other one is this one here, the error. And we are going to use this chain set because we want to send back the error to the form to display. And in this case, what we're going to do is, again, so we need to do a null reply. And prior to that, I'm going to say assign socket updated socket, and you'll see why I'm doing that right now, is we need to pass in the flash. So if it's successful, we gotta pass in the flash saying that, hey, your email has been updated. Do check out your email form. So I'm gonna call it updated socket equals socket. Yeah, this I could just do this over here. Okay, perfect. Okay, socket, pass that in. Now, if it's an error, what we need to do is we need to do no reply. I'm gonna call this string set. No reply. I'm gonna assign socket. I'm gonna only update the email change set. Perfect. And that should do it. Okay, what is happening here? Oh, okay. That's why it is account. Perfect. And it's not Saki, it's socket. And boom, perfect. There you go. So we shall, I do want to see the log messages as well. Clear this, and then let's do some tests here. So I'm going to do a couple of tests. Number one, I'm going to keep the email the same and see if we get any error. I'm going to change the email to a new one, but have a wrong password. And the other case is going to be have a new email, but no password. The last one's going to be a valid form in which I'm going to pass in a new email with the correct password. So let's do the same email with the correct password. Didn't change. Okay, agreed, makes sense. So the second one is new email, but wrong password. Not valid. Again, don't worry about the formats because it's screen size. Let me actually make this a little better. Another one is new email, no password. Okay, I'm gonna do that. Okay, so still not valid. And then the last one is new email, new password. Correct password. Okay, there was an error here. Let me see what's happening here. Assigns. So new is not implemented for okay. So undefined protocol enables undefined socket assign. Okay. Right. Something has to do with this, or the problem might be with this one here. For Flash, let me go into documentation, which is always good. Let us go see. See. Oh, I think this might be it. No, that's not it. The Flash. And I can also redirect as well. But put Flash here. Yeah, info, it worked. Yeah. Socket, info. Yep, with the socket assigns user confirmed Yep, as the user, that case data in here. And I want to see why this is assign socket. So it's still sending this one here, error current is not valid. I wonder what's happening. So let me do this one more time. And let me, out of curiosity, I do want to see what this will actually print out as well. Again, I'm going to go IO, inspect, new socket, right? And then be done. Come over here. Okay. So what do you have? What do you have here? Okay, so looks like it's not even going to here. I believe something has to do with this one. Since we have the error change set and the email change set. I do wonder what's happening here. Again, come over here, apply assign socket, and socket, say error socket. What if like, I'm missing something? Nope, I'm good. How do that? Yeah, here, I'm leaving there, okay, socket, 5, let's try this here, this is that, and we should be good. So, test 1, 2. So it's error, and I just want to confirm if I am receiving the error with the change set. And I get the change set, and once I get the change set, I do assign email, right, no reply, change set, right, that's about right. Cool, let's do change email. Okay, so we are getting some error here, and technically, oh, okay, this one makes sense. This is because I entered the wrong password, and it did not crash on us. Boom. So let's see which one is even getting called. Right. Because why? Because why we're passing in a, we're not passing in a user. That's why. So in this case, what I'm wondering is if I'm actually capturing the right user in the first place. So what I could do is IO inspect label user. User, okay, and then clear this, try again, so test, 1, 2, 3, gmail.com. Boom. Right, so we scroll up, 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 up. Yeah, so we are getting the right user, and I am passing it to it. So I'm just gonna see where this is crashing then. I should have done it in the first place, but okay. Event save. CRF, current password. Line 23. Oh, is it because of this? Probably not. Line 23 reduce. Let me confirm if I am getting an updated socket in the first place. Because I should be. And this should be working. Right. Signs. Right. Now I'm wondering. Well, new socket. So something with the assign here, which is throwing me off. Can't be back. Okay. Okay. User. Okay. Right. Right. My apologies there. Is that since it has been updated, I also need to remove the old or the new change set, if you will. Right? So I do this, and I also need to replace the email change set with the default one because it's valid, and we just need to reset the form as well. And assuming that assign works in this manner, where it just concatenates everything together. So let us try that, but now you have to kind of go around this. Right, oh, okay. What I do is, I just do that. That's it. That is it. So confident that it's going to be good. Alright, let's go. gmail.com. And then, bada bing, bada bing. That's it, right? So, just going to quickly give you a quick recap what we did so far. Number one, we create a new route, and the new route we linked it to this the LiveView controller, I believe. I think it's the right terminology here. And in here we set up the mount, and in the mount we created a new email change set, and we also pulled in the user session, converted user session to user, and assigned it to a socket so that we could use it for future functions such as the handle event. And then we return that initial argument to the form, and the form then utilizes what it needs. In this case, we just only said, hey, user email change set, and as you've seen right here, we're not mentioning anything about the user. Now, in here, we're saying user email change set, capture all these parameters here, and then on submit, call this function here with this term, call save. Now, when a user clicks save, since we are looking for the save specifically, and just to kind of show you that this could be any term, I'm going to say save form. And this one's going to be, I'm taking a quick tangent here, but just to prove to you all naysayers that this is valid. But I didn't do that. Boom, it still works, because how I know we're getting the error message. So once you click on the save, this handler again listens to it, picks it up, and picks up the message and acts on it. And then so here it pulls in the current password, the email, and in the socket we put in the user. We pass that user into this function here, and this function essentially does a mock update. And based on the mock update, it provides the following response. So if there's an error, we take the chain set, give it back to the form so that it can display any error messages. But if not, then if it's successful, we'll get the user chain set. In that case, we just put a flash message saying that, hey, it has been successful, and we just reset the form back to the default state that it was in before. And that's pretty much it. So that concludes the final part of this application. And so in the first part, again, we went over phx.gen.auth. In the second part, we converted one of the generated page, which is the setting, into a live form for better experience. And that is all.